So I'm going to be recording the 6A challenge solution. So the first thing we've got to do is get the user to enter a sentence and you've got to do different things. So I've already put in the input to enter a sentence. And now using a count control loop, a for loop, because a for loop is a count control loop, and you can't use the built-in Python commands, count how many vowels are in the text. Okay, so we need a variable called vowels. I mean, we could count each individual one and add them up, but it doesn't seem to be any reason to do that. So we're going to loop for I in range length of sentence. So if you don't understand this, very quickly I'll print out what this does. But I need to put brackets around that. So let's write the word hello, which has 5 letters. So it's going to print 0 to 4 because range starts at 0 and it ends at that, but it doesn't do the final number. So the last number would be 5 because it's 5 letters, but it doesn't do them. So this is handy for us because we don't want that, because what we want to do is access each individual letter. And so to do that, you would do like L equals sentence I. Okay, so because I is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, sentence 0 will be H, sentence 1 will be E, sentence 2, L, 3, L, 4, O. So now if I print L, it's going to print each letter one at a time. Obviously I've got to keep typing hello, which is annoying. I'm tempted to just write something in there, but anyway, I'll leave it. So that's what we've got to do. What we've got to do now is check what L is, because L is each letter. You really kind of have to rote learn this if you can't understand it, because it's very common. But L is each letter one at a time. So then we've got to check if it's a vowel. So if L is equal to... Now there are two things you could do here. You could do like A or L is equal to A. You could turn it into uppercase. So it's up to you which one you do. And then you only check for the or lowercase. And then only check for the lower or the upper. I'm going to just do it like that. And I'm going to do them as 5 different ones, because I think it's easier to see on the screen. So if it is, I'm going to add one to vowels. I'm going to paste it, obviously, and then I'm going to do E, I, O, U, U, O, I, E, A. Oh, well, up there. U, O, I, E, A. Let's just check that's right. And then afterwards, we'll print the word vowels. And then we will do vowels. Okay. So then we'll write everyone. And then we see that it's got 6. It's done the capital A and it's done the capital E. So that's correct. Right, so that's the low one. So if I just click back, well done, I've closed the website, Smarts. If I just go to it, programming guide, challenges, there we go. Right, so make the text print out with alternating lower and uppercase characters. Now there are 2 ways of doing this. I'm going to show you both ways. Okay, so there are 2 ways of doing this, right? So I'm just going to remove all. Now, obviously, this is just a stupid question. Really, I know here I do all things in a row, but I'm just going to delete the low stuff and add the stuff for med, okay? Because it doesn't really matter about that. So we're back to this. Now, I've got 2 choices on how to do that. I could have a variable that I change to true or false. So I could have something like uppercase and set it to false. Let's start true. So now the first letter can be true. And then we go if uppercase. Now we don't even need to put equals true, but I will. Then we're going to print L.upper. So we're going to print the uppercase of L. Else print L.lower. Okay. Now we need to flip uppercase. So uppercase equals not uppercase. Now what that means is going to be the opposite. So if it was true, it's now going to equal false, and it's going to go back and forth. So that should work. What doesn't seem to work in Python? Wow, do you do not in Python? Probably not like that. Yeah, not upper. There you go. So let's do all lowercase. So hello, and then it goes Hello. Now it's printing on different lines because Python does that. So the actual best thing to do would not to be do this, to start with some blank text. So like text equals nothing. And then we're going to go text equals text plus. We're going to add the text like that. I'm going to delete this. There is other ways you could do it, but so now, and then you can print text after the loop is finished. So what we're doing is we're adding either an uppercase or a lowercase letter, depending on what this is, and then we're flipping it back and forth. There you go. Hello, everyone. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Where you've got a variable. I mean, I could set this to 0 to 1. I could, and then go. If I could have done, if this bit confuses you, it basically not just flips it. And because it's Boolean, you can flip it. But you could have done if uppercase, which is equals true, or here, like you could have set it here. So you could have set it up and then put uppercase equals false, and then here we'll set uppercase equals true. So if it is true, we add the upper one and set it to false, and if it's not, we set it to true, and that will do the exact same thing. If you were a little confused as to what I did there, that's another way of doing it. There's lots of ways of doing this one. Another way of doing it would be to not have a variable at all. Just have this. I'm going to put this back onto one line because it's easier on one line. So we still keep the variable text, right? But instead of checking this uppercase, we mod, because think about it, I is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we go mod 2, if it's equal to 0, then it's an even number. And if it's not, it's an odd number. So this will do the exact same thing. This looks confusing, but all I'm doing is, remember I is going to be 0. Let's say I write hello everyone. I will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. So I go, is 0 even? And it counts as even. I know mathematicians would say it's not even or odd, but in the programming world, 0, it counts as even. So that would go capital. Then 1 will leave a remainder of 1 when it's divided by 2. And so this will, so this is going to flip back and forth, basically checking if they're even numbers. So there was two ways of doing this one that were quite effective. And they both work. I suppose this way doesn't have a variable you've got to store, but it does have to do a mod function, which is a little slower. I mean, it depends on what way you like. There is no wrong answer here. Well, there is if it doesn't work. But other than that, that works fine. So that's how you would get it to flip back and forth, printing the characters up and down. Okay, right, last one. What's the last one? Please I haven't deleted it. Oh, I've closed it again. I mean, honestly, that is just done. Computing, Key Stage 4, Programming Guide. Try the challenges here. Right, print out each word in the sentence one at a time. Right, so, okay, so I'm going to move that over here. So I need to print out each sentence one at a time. Now, a word. So what we need to do is add the letter to text, and then when we get a space, we're going to print text and set it back to 0. So, but we want to do that here. So L equals sentence. If L is equal to a space, then we're going to set text back to blank. But before we do that, we're going to print text out. Let's set it blank and then print it. So we're going to print what we store in here. Now I'll go through this code in a second and then walk through it. So let's run it and I'll show you that this works. And then this is quite an easy one, really. Let's do hello everyone, I am here now. Okay, hello everyone, I am here now. Well, I didn't write now. Did I write now? Oh, right now, okay. It's not doing the last one because the loop is finished. So after the program finishes, we should just print text out because it will always, because the text has ended and there's no space at the end of the text, it won't print out what's left in there because it never gets a space. I mean, one thing you could do is add a space to the end. Like you could just do sentence equals sentence plus space. So you've always got a space at the end. And then the last one printed out. Or you could print that out. In fact, I probably would find that solution better would be to do the space on it. Because, so sentence equals sentence plus a space. Because what happens is, think about it, it's looking for the space to print the word out. And so on the last word, so think about it. So look what it's doing here. It goes, right, I is 0. Yeah. Add H. So on that text has now got E in it, then L, then O. And then when it gets to the space, which is numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're on 4. I is 4. L equals sentence 4. Is L a space? Yes. Print text out and blank out the text. And then the next time we, and then if it's not a space, we're going to add the letter onto the text. So we're adding each of these letters one at a time to this variable called text. When we get a space, we're printing out text and resetting it back to 0 again. E, EV, EVE, EVR, you know, and so on and so forth. The reason it didn't do the now was because there's no space after the now. So it never prints it out. So what we've done here is add a space to it, which is one way of doing it, or we could have just printed text out here. I think that's better because, yeah, I don't know, because then you haven't got to put it, you haven't got to write about it really. I'm just going to be so lazy that I'm going to copy that. I don't know if I actually can copy that. Okay. There we go. So I fixed that problem by adding a space at the end. So the last character will always be a space, and therefore that will always trigger and print out whatever they type in. But yeah, so that's how that works. It looks really difficult, but it is a little tricky to understand. You've got to remember I've got this variable that I'm adding letters to. That's the key bit here. So if it's not a space, I add the letter to. The minute it is a space, I print out what I've added before and I reset it so I've got a blank for the next word. And then I'm printing out each word one at a time. I'm sure there are many built-in functions for this in Python. Split, I think, is one of them. But remember, they'll nearly always say something like using a count-controlled loop, basically telling you you cannot use the built-in functions. So that is how you do challenge 6 and A. And yeah, there we go.